New year, same season. Ozone, season 2. New year, same season. City stay frozen. Big apple pressure when you step in the ozone, man. Jets, Knicks, Giants, pinstripes, orange and blue. Whole city locked in, yeah, they tuned in too. Press play, turn it up, yeah, the tone stay polling. If it's New York sports, welcome to the ozone. Welcome to the ozone. Same city, New Year, same pressure, new tone. New York, boys loud, it's the ozone. Yeah, New York outside again. New Year, same season. Ozone, season 2. Let's go.
You have entered the ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go, baby. We are here. You guys officially entered the ozone. It's your boy O. Oh, the NFL has done something that I don't think I've ever seen in my lifetime. And that's have a booming off-season free agent season, whatever you want to call it. But the NFL made news because the NFL, everybody's just jumping ship. Everybody's getting the bag. Everybody's getting cut. Teams are taking old teams' X's. You got, I don't know what's going on. You got teams that were tanking, now projected to be winners. You have the Super Bowl champs losing a lot of key players. You have teams reneging, Indian giving. Sorry, got to be politically correct. When you got teams wanting stuff back after they agreed to things, it's so much going on. You got NBA players getting mad at a certain player for passing a player for a record. You got everything going on. The Jets finally found their franchise quarterback. And the World Baseball Classic is in full effect. Is anybody beating Team DR? Mikal Bridges. Am I finally going to lose my patience with Mikal Bridges? I don't know. It's possible. But I cannot get into all of this without the best co-host in the business, super producer Dave. Brother, it's a new week. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling good. Currently, Puerto Rico has been playing really good in the World Baseball Classic, so that's good to see. Hopefully moving on to the next round. Knicks, we'll leave it at that until we talk about it. Yeah, 6-7. And then let's just talk about the NFL because I think we got to get into it. Brother,
go ahead.
We always talk about the NBA, right? The NBA always is the king of the summer when it comes to off-season moves, right? Like we look forward to that free agency week and everything starts taking off right after the finals. But the NFL, this is the most excited I've ever been for an off-season for an NFL. So, brother,
let's get
into this next segment.
Let's get into it, guys. This is water cooler talk. All right, y'all, this is Water Cooler Talk. This is where we huddle around the water cooler and we talk about what's going on in sports. And right now, there's nothing to talk about but the NFL. The NFL normally, obviously, they're the king of headlines on most things, but for the most part, the NFL is really, around this time, brother, we're still talking draft. You know what I mean? We're talking about which teams are going to draft. But the NFL did something, and you mentioned it before we got into the segment, and I mentioned it in the monologue as well. This is something we quite never seen before. This is what you said, brother. This is NBA like off-season moves. Like, yeah, you get a couple big dogs, but man, everybody was on the move. And before we get into them, because we can't go over all of them, guys. So just let y'all know right now, we can't go over. It's just too much. Obviously, we're going to cover the big ones that pertains to our New York teams. Obviously, we got to show love to super producer Dave. The New England Patriots have made some moves. And that's also going to impact some of our New York teams. But we got to talk about the National Football League as a whole. Because, brother, we do got fans that aren't necessarily fans of our team. But they are fans of, the rest of the league. So let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens, brother, because they're the biggest story of this offseason because they made arguably the biggest trade, which at the time was with the Raiders for 5-time Pro Bowl defensive end Maxx Crosby. That was in exchange for the 2026 and the 2027 first round pick. But now the trade, Baltimore has backed out of the agreement from this trade due to Crosby failing the physical. Now, the Ravens now have pivoted and got a familiar face in the division, and they agreed to a 4-year, $112 million deal with Trey Hendrickson. So now that eliminates everything with Maxx Crosby. So now you got certain people talking about that the Ravens are using, they kind of knew what this situation was with Maxx Crosby before they made the trade. And once they saw that there was a possibility, this is all rumor and innuendo, brother, that they can get Hendrickson, then they're like, wait a minute, let's pivot. Let's get maybe not as an equal player, because I would say Maxx Crosby's a much better defensive end than Hendrickson. However, you get Hendrickson, still good, still very good, but now you keep your first picks. Brother, what's your take on everything? Because I said a lot. It's a lot to unpack with just this alone, and this is not even half of what we saw in the last few days in the NFL.
Brother, I'm not one to shy away from what you mentioned as far as the Ravens saying, hey, Hendrickson's available for cheaper as far as price and for assets. And pivoting and saying, hey, Doc, I don't think he passed the physical. Do you think so? And the doc is like, yeah, you know what? I don't think he passed the physical either. Brother, they are getting Hendrickson, a person who has 77 plus career sacks, 220 plus tackles, 14 forced fumbles, at 4 years, 112 million, 60 million guaranteed, 20 million signing bonus for the player. He is a person that they are very familiar with. He is a division he was playing for the division rival, so they already knew what they were getting. And the fact that they can take it away from that team, a team which you and I have been very critical over the years with, because we're going almost on 2 years with the Ozone almost. We've been very critical of the Bengals and their defense, and you go and lose your best player on defense. So this is a really good pivot move by the Ravens. I wouldn't be shocked if it turns out that, yes, that's the Ravens move. And what they did was they fit, they confirmed that, yeah, Crosby is a little bit hurt and he can't pass the physical, and let's get our stuff back. And the guy down the corner is available. Let's go pick him up. Like, it's just funny how it happened within hours, because it was the Crosby move, and within hours Hendrickson was signed. So something was at play.
Yeah,
something was at play.
Yeah, something's fishy. Diana Rossini, she's a senior NFL insider for The Athletic. She tweeted, it's been made clear by multiple people around the NFL at all levels that Baltimore had all the information and understood where Maxx Crosby's knee was in terms of his recovery timeline. Many in the league believe that GM Eric DeCosta and the Ravens ultimately just got cold feet. Look, obviously you have these agreements, these verbal agreements. I think you get it even with free agency. I think sometimes, we want to jump the gun and be excited, but then, you see what happens. Physicals happen, guys change their minds. You know what I mean? This is if I'm a Ravens fan, I'm cool with it. Like, you got still an elite defensive end, and you get to keep your first round picks. And I like the fact you and I both mentioned is, brother, that the guys in the same division, so we know there's not going to be any difference. You know what I mean? Like, he knows how to play in the division. It's different when you're bringing in, a dome player, a player who's accustomed to playing in warm weather or playing in a dome. Where no, Hendrickson plays in the AFC North. He's accustomed to all those stadiums. He's accustomed to that level, that physicality that the North is known for. So I like that move. Is it kind of messed up? Yeah. Did you kind of put the Raiders in a tough spot because the Raiders were going in with the cap? You know what I mean? With the money that they freed up from trading Crosby, and then they got a couple verbal agreements. I don't know how that's gonna. I'm not gonna pretend to be a capologist, so I'm not. I don't know how that's gonna work out for them. But whatever. It's not my team. So
I have opinions on this, and as far as like, okay, like you said, the Ravens, you're cool, right? You walk away scot free, you pay cheaper for the guy, and you don't have to give up the assets to get someone of a little bit older but of similar quality as far as what you're getting. You're getting a defensive impact. The two things that are probably affected the most in this trade is Crosby, right? Crosby's ego, going back to that locker room, and I don't think he left in a bad with a sour taste in his mouth as far as with the Raiders. But there's a clear difference from going from the Raiders to the Ravens. Now, does he play with the chip on his shoulder when he comes back? Absolutely. But the other one is the Raiders, because the Raiders ended up making a lot of moves in this offseason because of that. They already knew that they were going to get rid of Crosby. That frees up the books, and they started signing other players as well.
and obviously they traded another player who made a lot of money, and we'll get into a little later. But
And then
go ahead.
you free up you free up all this money because Crosby's gone. You start signing other players. You also are with the mindset, okay, we're about to get Mendoza and two more picks in this round. We can start building this team up. And now things go the different way. So I think the two sides that are probably hurt the most from this is Crosby, and probably going from a bad situation to a better one, which was the Ravens going back to that team, and the Raiders because of where their moves started lining up from there. You mentioned another player from the Raiders though.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit, but I want to stay in the division, brother, because there was another big name
Okay.
that moved, and it was the Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker who signed what did he sign? He signed a 3-year, $43 million deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's believed to be what 28.7 being fully guaranteed. Now, this was a big move. Obviously, this impacted our New York teams because obviously you saw that the Giants were linked to Kenneth Walker. I don't know how realistic that would have been. That would have been nice to have him. But you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to not pretend to be a doctor anymore because clearly I was wrong about Jason Tatum. So I'm not going to say that Pat Mahomes is going to be out all next year. You know what I mean? So, because the way I get it, Kenneth Walker's not old. But I think they made this signing thinking, okay, we can win a few games with Kenneth Walker, with the team we have, until we get Pat Mahomes back, then we're the Chiefs. Now I know they made some defensive, they traded off some big defensive pieces. And that's something they're gonna have to address at the draft. But Kenneth Walker to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I know my man Terrence watches this, and let us know in the comments if I'm wrong, Terrence. I think this might be the best running back the Chiefs have had since I want to say what was his name? Larry Johnson? Was it Larry Johnson?
I'll confirm, but that sounds familiar.
Yeah, because I don't want to date. I was thinking about it at the signing. I was gonna say Priest Holmes, but I said no. They've had better running backs.
Larry Johnson was the running back for the
Larry
Chiefs.
Johnson, I would say, probably the best big name running back they've had. Now since Walker, because you look at the Pat Mahomes Super Bowl teams, they weren't the sexiest running backs. You know what I mean? You had Kareem Hunt, you had Isaiah Pacheco for a couple of them. So it was like they've never had the big time back. Now there's some people who don't think Kenneth Walker's that. And I'll be honest. Kenneth Walker was losing snaps, and he was sharing more of the load with Zach Charbonnet before Charbonnet got hurt. And then Walker put it in the gear and showed, hey, no, I could be the number one, as you guys thought. Had a phenomenal postseason, had a better Super Bowl performance, got himself paid. He deserves it. I thought it was a good signing though for the Chiefs. I thought that the Chiefs need a running game. I like Pacheco, but Pacheco Wasn't good last year, coming off the leg injury. How many years you're gonna rely on Kareem Hunt? So I do like that. Now you got a steady hand at the running back position that he can rush close to 1,000 yards, if not 1,000 yards a season, and double-digit touchdowns. I like this signing for the Chiefs. What do you think, brother?
I like it too because you also bring back another veteran piece into that offense. You bring back Travis Kelce for another year. Now, Travis Kelce is more of a shell of himself than what he's been in
Right.
the past, and what people at least equate to, at least if not the GOAT, one of the best tight ends of all time. And I think that this kind of Walker signing is really good. You said it. Isaiah Pacheco, he left. He's now on the Lions. He's going to be a great asset piece for them because he doesn't have to be the guy. Kenneth Walker, now the thing is, can he stay healthy? Because just like you said, he was losing snaps to Charbonnet, but another concern for Kenneth Walker for a very long time was, can he stay healthy? And the only reason I know this is because fantasy. We always knew he wasn't available whenever we needed him. So that's it. And this is less about our fantasy teams and complaining about our imaginary teams. This is more concerned about the guys being available because the Chiefs do want to turn it around. The Chiefs do want to be back in that title picture, or at least in the hunt for it. And I think this is the right move there. And so they do get Patrick Mahomes back. I wouldn't be surprised the guy doesn't come back until like maybe October, November. But people are making surprise comebacks from injuries these days. So we'll see. It's a good signing and a good move by them.
And speaking of good move, let's pivot now to another running back that he signed a 2-year, $12 million deal. And I think this is an under-the-radar pickup. And speaking of, you mentioned fantasy, because I think now this guy's going to have a monster fantasy season now. And that's Tyler Aguilar. Tyler Algier, my bad. Tyler Algier, he signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with the Cardinals. He's one of those guys. And he showed it last year. When I know he took a lot of Bijan Robinson's touchdowns. That can look a little inflated. I get that, but Algier, when given the opportunity, performed well. I thought he done enough. So in that Arizona offense, I think this is an under the radar move that can help. Now, obviously, it's not going to help the meter as far as does it make Arizona a contending team within the division. But I think being that you mentioned fantasy, brother, I kind of figured I would want to mention that move because we got some people that watch us, brother, and listen to us. They're in fantasy, and this is a sleeper. This is a sleeper now. I thought it was a smart move for him. I don't know. When I saw that, I'm like, good for him. You're going to be the number one back now on that team. He's going to get an opportunity to cook.
Right. James Conner, we don't know what he's going to be when he does come back.
Done. He got released anyway. He's got released.
There you go. So my apologies.
That's
that
why
doesn't
I
show up
this
right
was
here.
a good. Yeah, this was a good move.
But
look at James Conner. James Conner looked washed before he got to Arizona, and he was good before he.
It's something about the. I think so.
Yeah. He got hurt.
Arizona's a good place to recover back and play as well. Bam Knight also got hurt last year. They also had other running backs that are just not the number one guy. So Algier definitely just takes the front of the line with this. They are also a team that they're retaining Jacoby Brissett, which played really well for them. And then they also, and maybe that's their bridge guy until the next one comes up. They still have McBride. They still have Michael Wilson, who plays amazing under Brissett. And then you also still have Marvin Harrison Jr., who you would hope becomes better in his third year now. But he's not that guy. But you have other pieces around here where Algier can shine. There's nobody, I think, stealing the spotlight from him.
This is why you're the best co-host in the business, because you made, and you don't even know right now what you did. Ooh. You just made a perfect segue, right? Because you mentioned Wilson, you mentioned Marvin Harrison, and you mentioned wide receivers. Like, we don't know what you're going to get, but they could be good. Whatever, because that leads to the most highest paid free agent wide receiver. And his name is Alec Pierce, who signed a 4-year, $114 million deal to stay with the Colts. And I know everyone, even Colts fans, were like, what the hell did we just do? Because my man, shout out to his agent. His agent's name is, the deal was negotiated by his agents, Mike Swinson and CJ LeBoy. Bro, bro. When we make it big, brother, we gonna get them guys to be our agents because they got Alec Pierce $114 million, brother. He wasn't even the best wide receiver on his team. Don't get me wrong. He caught passes, but bro, you're on like Justin Jefferson pay scale. You're on Jamar Chase pay scale. You're on that. He's not even on one. He's barely Wan'Dale Robinson, and we're gonna get into that, but he's barely Wan'Dale Robinson.
Brother, I saw this trade, and I look up. This is my Twitter. Please go and see what was my reaction when I saw Alec Pierce got the highest paid contract. Who? The guy who probably caught like 5 great passes in his whole tenure of being a Colt. Like, the guy is nowhere near the money that he got paid. And I know every year, as the years go by, players get paid more and they break records. And maybe to some of us, it doesn't look right. Like, the NBA is a perfect example of, like, you see this regular guy getting paid $70 million, and that's just the market. That's what it is, right? The NFL's not there yet, though. The NFL is not there yet where they can be paying guys that much to do what? They did trade away Pittman. You did say he wasn't the best receiver. So they did trade away Pittman, and I think that was their pivot plan to move on to Alec Pierce. Yes, to the Steelers, which kudos to the Steelers. That's a good move because now you also have you have 2 good pieces over there. You have Pittman, with DK, and you also have this guy who just took off as a running back this year. And I have him in fantasy. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I know you're talking about too.
His name's not ringing a bell, but they pivoted to him, and he's just been taking off. And it's gonna bother me. And if you look it up, Omar, I would appreciate that.
I got you.
But
it was Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren, who took
and
off
they signed Rico Dotto too. They signed Rico Dotto, so they're gonna be. They're gonna be pretty good at the running back position.
So I just don't understand. And then, mind you, the Colts, while we're on the Colts, they just got money to flaunt because they go and give Daniel Jones almost $100 million for 2 years.
Yeah, that was a scratch. Look, I have the numbers. So this is the breakdown for Danny Dimes. 2-year deal, $88 million base value, $50 million fully guaranteed at signing, $60 million guaranteed for injury, a max value of $100 million, making it the largest 2-year contract in NFL history. Yeah. Daniel Jones. So we're not the only idiots to give him a big contract.
First of all, I just saw the number was, I think the guy made over $300 million in his time playing in the league. So shout out to Daniel Jones. He's going to be one
of those guys when he retires and you look at his total earnings, you're going to be like, what? How many Pro Bowls? Yep. None?
Right, because then, mind you, he'll sign to other teams just to be a backup and earn like maybe $15 million per year.
Right. Yeah.
So
you mentioned... Yeah. Go ahead, brother. No, go ahead, brother.
No. I'm baffled. I'm baffled with that people got money to spend like this because...
Yeah. Well, another big-time wide receiver got paid as well, and I thought this was a great signing. And it's your boys. Your boys, the New England Patriots, signed free agent wide receiver Romeo Doubs from the Green Bay Packers. You guys gave him a nice little bag. A 4-year deal worth roughly $70 million. This was from Ian Rappaport. I don't know how much of it was guaranteed. I'm pretty sure it's not all of it. Was that out yet of how much is guaranteed of that $70 million, brother, or no?
I don't know, but I know the value the max value is $80 million for this deal.
Okay. Honestly, brother, I think this was a good move. I think if anyone saw no one's watched more Patriot games than you have this season. So you could speak to this more on me. But what I'll say is this. They needed a number one. I think everyone who watched a New England Patriot game saw that. You got Butte, who's good. I like Douglas, but you need a number one guy. Stephon Diggs had moments. He had moments. Man, y'all made the Super Bowl with that core wide receivers. Dobbs is, at this point in Diggs' career, is a major upgrade. Major upgrade. And it's a big weapon for Drake May now.
I agree with you, brother. And the price is great for what we paid for him. It's 4 years, so you divvy it up into maybe like $20 million per year. That's fine. That's a good number as far as for wide receivers. the thing that also is that you look at the stats and you look at what Diggs did this year and you look at what Romeo Dobbs did this year. They're on par. They're basically they're neck and neck as far in pause. They're neck and neck as far as the stats that they put up this year. So if you can replace Stephon Diggs with a younger guy for who's a little bit healthier, who wears the Guardian cap though, then you like that signing. And with the thought process as far as the Patriots go and the Eagles, because I will include them for this, the interest has been about AJ Brown.
Brother, can you
So
quote? Hold on, brother, not to cut you off. You mentioned the helmet. Was it you that sent it on the chat with the big old helmet? It's like
no,
if I'm gonna try to find and send it to you so you can post it right now.
was it was it?
With like a big old Patriot helmet. It was just
I saw
hilarious.
another one.
It was hilarious.
I saw another one. It was like, oh, Drake May, Will Campbell letting the pass rusher come through, and AJ Brown at the end, and then they did it again,
Yeah.
but this time with Romeo Dobbs, and all you see is the silhouette of a big helmet.
Oh,
But
okay.
I saw that one. But this is the thought process as far as the Patriots are concerned, or the rumors that you've been seeing. The Eagles, if they were to move AJ Brown at this point, they owe too much money to him if they move him at this deadline.
Yeah.
But if they were to wait until June, then they owe him at least, I believe, 16 million instead of, I believe, 60 million. That's a big number to be held up with that cap space. So I think the Eagles are basically just sitting, and unless somebody offers something that they can't refuse, they're just waiting until later so they don't have to pay him so much later on. So it's a good move, I think, on the Patriots end to go and get somebody who is as good as Dobbs, and then maybe have your eyes on the future for something else.
Yeah. And let's stay with the wide receivers because another big name left. And that's guys. If I'm looking up, I'm sorry. While we're recording, is DR versus Minnesota. The Mike Evans, man. Mike Evans ending his tenure with the Buccaneers. And heading west to San Francisco on a 3-year deal. I like this move. I think, outside of this past season, Mike Evans has always been reliable. 1,000 catch. Is it 1,000 catches? Right? No, I'm not. 1,000 catches.
A thousand yard seasons. He's had
1,000 yard
consistent.
seasons. Right. 1,000 yard seasons. My bad. 1,000 catches is crazy. 1,000 yard seasons, and I think this was a great move. This guy's reliable. Outside of last season, you can always count on Mike Evans being dependable. Just when you think Mike Evans is gonna have a washed up season, he just produces. And I think if it's anything that the San Francisco 49ers need, it's stability. They've never had it in their they've never had it really. You know what I mean? It's the reason why they're really good one year, they're bad one year, because it's just someone's always hurt, whether it's McCaffrey or whether it's been Debo Samuels at the time, or Brandon Ayuk or Kittle. It's always been someone hurt. Now, you're gonna be going without Kittle. I don't think Kittle plays. I don't think Kittle's playing this season. I believe they just cut Brandon Ayuk. I believe they have. You got to bring somebody in there for Brock Purdy, because you can't now just run McCaffrey to the ground. I like this signing by Mike Evans. I thought Tampa, it was word that Tampa offered them $28 million for a year or whatever the case may be. Obviously, Tampa is now going to pivot to, and I like them too. What's his name? I picked them. Is it Trey Johnson? Oh my God, I can't think of the wide receiver. Well, they had the receiver that got hurt 2 years ago. He was a rookie 2 years ago. And then, oh man, this is gonna.
They got also Mbuke.
Tez Johnson. Is it Tez Johnson?
I don't think that looks right, but they also have Mbuke.
And Mbuke killed. Hold on, because I think they're wide receivers. So they have Mbuke, yeah, Tez Johnson, and remember they had McMillan. McMillan that was out last year that had a phenomenal rookie season 2 years ago. So they have a good wide receiver core. So I get maybe pivoting for Mike Evans to give now a bouquet that clear number one, because I don't think Chris Godwin's going to be that. And then you have Tez Johnson, and then you have McMillan, where I think guys are not getting paid that much. So, and then they're in the division that, I'm going to be honest, I think they could survive without having Mike Evans.
I agree. And It's the same division that signed Tua to a contract after seeing what he's done for the
There you
Dolphins, and
go.
they
Yeah,
said, you know
that's why
what,
he's the best co-host. I was just going to get into that. Let's talk about it
brother.
right now. The Falcons are making a strong push, and but basically they've signed Tua Tagovailoa from the Dolphins, and the Dolphins got Malik Willis. Real quick before you roast Tua, what do you think about Malik Willis signing $40 million guaranteed? I believe it is to be the quarterback for the Dolphins. They calling them the Miami Packers out here. Quick
I
thoughts
mean,
on
good
that,
for
brother.
him.
Then roast Tua.
Good for them. Malik Willis. I wouldn't give him that much money, but then again,
Yeah,
they
I
do
wouldn't
need
either.
somebody to fill in the space. They did sign Ewers, who I believe was the Texans. No, sorry, the Texas college
Yeah,
quarterback
no, more
before.
known for his girl. No, that's the other kid. I was gonna say more known for
Yeah,
his girlfriend. That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
other. Yeah.
Who Archie Manning was playing behind while he was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what they do over there, but 67 million. Good on you, Malik Willis, for getting that bag. I don't have too much thoughts on that right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna stretch it. I'm not gonna make something up for the show and give us something to talk about. What I will say is the Falcons. I know we wanted to pivot to the Dolphins, but the Falcons offseason has been completely and utterly garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked around at the league and they said, there's a post, and I'm going to post it right now. And it's basically one of Peter Griffin walking through a stable of looking at horses. And he looks back at the horse and he says, I don't know what it is about you, but you got it.
I don't know what it is, but you have got it.
And that's exactly what the Atlanta Falcons did about Tua. They looked at him, they saw the concussion and said, yes, that is our guy. That is the one we want to play behind us. We have now two left-handed quarterbacks in this locker room, and they've just been picked up other pieces. Austin Hooper was a great Patriot piece, but I don't think he makes a difference over there. They still the only benefits to being on the Falcons is, once again, their B. John Robinson is there, and then the receiver, what's his name? He
Drake
did
London.
really good.
Drake
London did really good this year as well. So that's
Yeah.
the only benefits to there. But I mean, can the ball get thrown to you?
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
it ain't
know.
gonna be thrown by Cousins because they did cut Cousins, but they owe Cousins $10 million, so he gonna make $10 million easy. We did talk about and there's just so much. So we're gonna rapid fire these. The Ravens, they were able to keep. No, matter of fact, no. The Ravens lost their superstar, pro center Tyler Lindenbaum. He reached an agreement, a record deal with the Raiders, awarding him 3 years, $81 million. That includes $60 million guaranteed. I looked up a stat that now Tyler Lindenbaum, and only, I believe he's played 5 years or whatever the case may be. He's already made more money in his whole career. He's already made more money now than Jason Kelsey has made his entire career. So
Brother, I got
congrats
to
to
pause
him.
you right there.
Yeah.
There. We are a New York show, so let's cover these New York teams. The
Yeah, let's
Giants made
cover
some
these New
moves. The
York
Jets made
teams.
some moves.
And
Go ahead.
I was gonna get into that because I was pivoting to the linemen because the Jets did lose AVT. That's a big one. Elijah Vera Tucker signed a 3-year, $42 million deal with the Patriots. That's gonna be a big one. But the Jets did booster up their defense because they did trade for Minka Fitzpatrick in exchange for a 2026 seventh round pick. And they amongst other things, they did sign Bolden from the Giants. They made some moves, and I like the moves that they made. But we got to talk about the biggest one, and that's the return of Geno Smith. Geno Smith is back with the New York Jets, and in the trade, in exchange for a 2026 sixth round pick. So Smith is returning. Uh, from the team that drafted him in 2013. Um, it's an up. I've seen some Jet fans put the Fields greater than Geno post. I think that's a stretch. Let's not kid ourselves. I would rather take Geno Smith than Justin Fields. I would debate that. Um, if this was last year, I would say Jet fans be more excited. Be excited. But we saw what he did with the Raiders. This is Jets like behavior to pick a player when they're down and not get him when he's hot. Like this is it. Like this is typical Jets. Like a typical Jets move. It's a typical Jets move. Just to look at the offseason edition, so I'm not sure changing them. They did pick up Demario Davis. Another one, Tavondre Sweat. They Cade York as the kicker. They got former Patriot now, Billy Zapp. And they said, "Yo, are they cooking?" This was MGM. Are they cooking? They making Lunchables. They ain't cooking shit. This is. I'm sorry, Jet fans. I know we got a lot of Jet fans that love and watch and support us, and this is not personal. I think a lot of you guys can agree with that. This is for super producer David is, but this is I don't know, man. The Jets, I don't know, brother. What's your thoughts on Geno?
Brother, Geno had a great season with Seattle when he was playing under
under Carroll,
his coach Pete Carroll, and then he went to the Raiders to follow him, and then
we saw
what it was. And I think that was more of, you know what, the Seattle was a better team and a better thing for him. And then you go from the Raiders and you land back in the Jets. And brother, in another year or so, I think there's optimism to see for the Jets. I think there's a coach that could be in the horizon that could be available. And
you said that last week too. Yep,
I said that last week,
and
I think
because when it happens, we got to pull back. We're gonna pull out the archives.
Right, but it's just one of those moves that you just question, like, why didn't you go for Kyler Murray? At least the guy is serviceable. The guy can win you some games. Now, does he lose interest when Call of Duty comes around, October, November? Absolutely. But, I mean, the Jets are already out of it by that time anyway.
I'm going to give the Jets credit, though, brother. I think they did their due diligence and knew that he wasn't coming. I think, and if you think about it, you have the option. Because it's already, you mentioned it now, Kyler Murray was released Wednesday. He was already in the Minnesota Vikings facility. So clearly, I'm pretty sure they knew they had no shot. Now, I think they should have probably went for Tua. I think they should have made a crack at Tua, try to attempt to lure Tua to New York.
Or Kirk.
But like you, Kirk Cousins. This is
I'd take a Kirk Cousins over Tua or Geno Smith.
I'm taking. I would know. I gotta respectfully disagree with that. Because I've seen what Tua does if he's healthy. Tua does make bad plays, but Tua's. I'm taking Tua down. Cousins right now.
I think you're giving Tua too much credit.
No, I'm talking right now, though. Cousins maybe a couple years ago. Yeah, we taking Cousins, bro. You see Cousins in Atlanta?
Yeah, I know, but we're also talking about a Tua who was saved by the receivers that he had. That's the other thing. If I could just throw a dud up there and Tyreek Hill takes it to the house, or
then what you think Cousins is going to do? Cousins can't even move. He can't even run out the pocket. He's done. The pocket collapsed. He's done.
You know what? I'm putting too much investment into how to make the Jets better. I'm
not even
going to stress myself out. But
I think Tua would have been a better option than Geno, but. I like I said, I think the attitude would be different if this happened last year. If this happened last offseason where you looking at the numbers of what he did with Seattle and you're like, whoa, like, okay, he could do that here. No, we've seen him now without Seattle. And that was enough for me.
I just see at this point Aaron Glenn is a transitional coach.
Well, I think you're right. The coach and the quarterback is transitional 100%. 100%. Just really quick, we'll stay in that division real fast before we get to the Giants. The Dolphins, former Dolphins defensive end Bradley Chubb did sign a 3-year, $43 million deal with the Buffalo Bills. So that was it. And then now we're going to pivot to our Giants.
Stay with the Bills. Stay with the Bills real quick. The Bills also got DJ Moore in a trade.
Oh, yes. I knew. But you know what? You know why I forgot about that, brother? Because that happened before the free agent frenzy. That's why. You're right. That was another big move, I think. Just like you guys, that was a team that needed a number one bad, and I think change of scenery, especially for DJ Moore, with now playing with Josh Allen it's going to benefit his career very much. So we mentioned the Kyler Murray. Now, like I said, the Philadelphia Eagles, although they lost a lot of people, they did sign Pro Bowl corner Reek Warren, and that sucks because that was somebody that the Giants were linked to. Because we have to booster up our secondary, but the Giants had a nice contingent plan because I do like that they did sign cornerback Greg Newsome. It was a 1 year, $10 million deal. I do like that. The Giants also made some big moves, and they brought in Traymon Edmonds, which I'm very excited about. A 3-year, $36 million deal. One, I want to preface this right now. The Giants, I felt their linebacking core was needed to get an upgrade. Shout out to Bobby Okereke. Once a Giant, always a Giant. But I just felt like I don't know. It just he wasn't doing enough for me. Obviously, he's moved on. He's gotten released, and this was the Edmonds thing that I liked that we was able to sign him because this was a player that he was linked to Kayvon Thibodeau potentially maybe getting traded to Chicago for him. So the fact that now we're able to bring in Edmonds while keeping Kayvon, which I'm not going to rule out that he still might get traded. I would not be surprised if he gets traded in the draft. So that's something to look out for. Obviously, the Giants signed a much-needed kicker. Finally, Graham Gano has seen the door, and we finally got a reliable kicker in Jason Sanders. He's made a lot of big kicks for the Dolphins. They've re-signed Micah McFadden to a 1-year extension. I love that. They brought in Isaiah Hodgins. We shouldn't have let him go the first time. And then we bring in Patrick Ricard, a multiple-time Pro Bowler fullback that he's basically the older statesman of a Cam Scatterbo. So now it's going to be two baby juggernauts in the backfield. In the running backs. You know what I mean? I love that. You look at, I would say, the biggest offensive signing. One is we was able to keep Illuminaire. That was big. I think that was big to keep him there. He's been so good for us, bringing him back. Obviously, Evan Neal is brought back. If John Harbaugh can't save that man's career, then I think this is done. This is his final straw. But I want to talk about brother Isaiah Likely. 3-year, $40 million deal. This kid, we've seen it. I think he's been kind of put on a back burner because he's played behind a future Hall of Famer and Andrews, and I think he has hit in the injury bug a little bit, but the talent is there. The talent is there. Right now, Giant fans, if you don't know Isaiah Likely, watch Week 1 of the 2024-2025 season, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens. Watch that game. And you're going to see what we're going to have, what we might be seeing at MetLife for 3 years. I love this signing. I effing love this signing, brother. This Giant team, we talked about guys needing weapons. We talked about it. We talked about May. We talked about Allen. The Giants right now, we don't know if Leak is going to be available in the beginning of the season. We got to bring in a guy that we can throw the ball to. And I love it. And now with losing Wan'Dale Robinson and Bellinger, which clearly it looks like our man, why am I drawing a blank on his damn name now? Brian Dable took every ex-Giant with him to Tennessee. This is the big signing for us, brother. Well, for the Giants, us. But you know what I mean.
I get what you mean, brother. Honestly, I like the signing because I also like that you guys still have Theo Johnson, you still have Bellinger, and those are two guys that started.
Gone. Bellinger went to Tennessee. Bad. We got Theo Johnson though still. Yeah.
So Theo Johnson, who's somebody who connected a lot with your guy Jackson Dart during the season, and I loved him, and I kept him in one of my fantasies. And then you also pair him with Likely, and I think I love when a team can run a two tight end set, especially when both guys can go and get it. So I definitely see a lot of potential in this team, and who better for Likely to go back with and be with the coach that he's been with all so far in his NFL career going
Right.
back with Harbaugh. So like there's a lot of familiarity there. Jackson Dart, I'm never gonna say this. I'm never gonna say that Jackson Dart is Lamar Jackson. But I will say there's similarities to the game style that they kind of play. And I can see Harbaugh doing some similar things that he was doing with Andrews and Jackson over here with Jackson and Likely and Theo Johnson. So
Yeah. No, of course.
the sky's potential. You guys won how many games this year?
4 or 5, 4, I believe.
I think the Giants can easily double that this year just because of the moves you've made so far. No, and brother,
You know why
it's
I'm
funny
happy?
to say,
You know why I'm happy about that? I recall you saying that about a certain team.
and they got to the
You
Super
were
Bowl.
wrong, and they win the Super Bowl. So,
Nostradamus David. That's what we're
now,
gonna call it
put
if it
your
happens.
money on the Giants making the Super Bowl right now in Vegas. Super producer Dave said the same thing last year about his boys. He said, we're going to double it. We're going to double our wins. We're going to get 8 wins. The boys ended up in the Super Bowl.
I say that, but you guys play in a division that can be tough. So I believe that this is definitely a good move. And if you guys can win 8 games after the purgatory that was Dable, I think, and I don't want to knock Dable so much, but what it's been under Dable, I think if you guys can get to 8 wins, that is definitely a clear direction of where you guys are going, and you can keep going that trajectory.
Yeah, man, this was a good move. But guys, let us know, man. A lot of big moves. Let us know in the comments below what was what was the most impactful move of this offseason? Who's gonna have the biggest impact on their new team this offseason? And guys, I'm pretty sure we're not gonna be done with NFL news. There are a boatload of players still available. And then remember, we have not even reached the NFL draft yet, where I think we get more moving parts. But brother, let's pivot to baseball really quick. The World Baseball Classic is going on. And right now the United States got themselves into a little jam because I'm not gonna front. I was under I was under the influence that the United States had already clinched before meeting Italy. They were 3-0. However, Italy was facing Mexico the next day. And there's some tiebreaker implications. Now, right now, Dave and I are recording this episode Wednesday. And thank you to you guys that for the patience. This was a decision that both of us, both Dave and I, agreed to make to have this episode Friday because we wanted to be able to talk about everything that was going on with the NFL free agents. And if we kept our regular recording time, which is Monday, we wouldn't have been able to speak about half of what went down. So thank you guys. And, shout out to you guys for always showing us love. So as of this recording, the United States needs for them to advance. They could pretty much be eliminated right now. And this could have all set for nothing, brother. But the United States, they need Italy to defeat Mexico. They're in. They're out of pool play. They move on. Another option scenario is if Mexico defeats Italy. However, they need to defeats Italy, and Italy scores 5 or more runs. So that's the way the United States will get in. And the United States is eliminated if Mexico beats Italy and scores 4 or less runs. So if Italy loses and scores 4 or less runs, that's how the United States gets out of pool play. And that kind of messes things up because I kind of had right now Italy's winning 6-0 to Mexico right now if I'm looking at it. So right now if Italy wins, then the United States are good. There's nothing to worry about. But I want to mention this thing. I want to say this right now. I was at the World Baseball Classic game over the weekend, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever experienced in a sports setting. Now, I've never been to a finals or a World Series or a Super Bowl and that sort of stuff. But that Marlins Park was rocking when DR was hitting them home runs. And there was some Americans. And when I say Americans, not the Americans like us, but the Americans sitting behind me, right, brother? And they were annoying me because they kept mentioning why, Austin Wells, but he's from Scottsdale, Arizona. And I really wanted to tell them, like, bro, there are Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and multiple Spaniards and everyone around the world that's actually born here. So that means nothing whether he's from Scottsdale, Arizona. But one of them made a valid point, and I never thought of it. And he said, I've been to a Yankees Boston Red Sox playoff game, and the environment was phenomenal. But he's like, but this is different. He's like, you go into that game because you love your team and you hate the other team. This World Baseball Classic is more love for your country. And I'm like, wow, that's perfectly said. And that's why I didn't want to steal it, and I wanted to give that guy credit. Because he's right. Because, as you mentioned in the beginning of the show, brother, Puerto Rico, when they won that walk-off against Panama, bro, I was ecstatic. That was amazing to watch. And then you look at Dion, you look at all the Dominicans that were just, man, the ground was shaking, brother. Like, it was something I've never experienced in my life. Like, everybody, like, yo, it was insane. But I want to get to the thing. I think, as we mentioned, you said the United States is your favorite to win. The lineup is crazy, and it is. They've killed it. Aaron Judge playing well. This DR team is damn near scary, bro. This DR team, and right now they're winning 2-1 against Venezuela. This is an important game. They both advance, but it's important because the loser has to face Japan. And if you can avoid Japan to as further as you can, I think that's a plus. But brother, what's your initial takes? Have you been able to see? I know you've been busy. Have you been able to see any of the World Baseball Classic games?
So I have been, in my big overall take of everything going on with the World Baseball Classic. Brother, you mentioned it, the Super Bowl, the finals, the things that we haven't been able to attend. This World Baseball Classic has a different feel compared to all those things that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And there's only one other comparable to right now the feeling that we get. And I would say it's the World Cup in soccer.
Yeah.
That is the closest feeling I can say. And I only say that because you and I are not truly diehard soccer fans. We'll watch it. My wife and their family, they love soccer. That is what they grew up with. That is their
You're giving me
that
too
is their
much
thing.
credit. I don't watch it at all, brother.
Okay, so fine. So I'll say I watch the
No,
World
yeah,
Cup when
yeah,
it's
yeah.
on, especially because you're with family and everything like that. You end up watching it. But this is the closest feeling I've seen where people are so passionate about their country and how their team is playing that I'm seeing it now in a different light. I haven't seen this in previous World Baseball Classics. The passion that's going on right now, and it's maybe a little intensified. But at the moment, with all the things going on and all the things and heading into baseball season, that's another part of that. But I think there's so much passion going into this that yes, I will circle back to that. This is the closest I've ever seen to something as far as passion for your country as the World Baseball Classic or maybe the Olympics. I'd say more so the World Cup because that is a more global sport that everybody from those countries are watching. They put more stakes into that, I believe. So this has been amazing to watch. Puerto Rico has been playing amazing. They're right now in the standings 3-1, so they should be able to move on.
But they need a little help right now. They're gonna need a little help.
They do, but Dominican Republic playing really great. Japan playing exactly how I thought they would be, and they're the scary team for me. USA, we thought you'd be sweeping them just as much as Japan, but let's see.
Yeah, so right now DR is up 3-1. Before we wrap up water cooler talk, brother, Bam Adebayo scored 83 points against the Washington Wizards on Tuesday on my birthday. Yeah, the Heat would make history on my damn birthday. A lot of people are not happy about it, brother. Not happy about it. Obviously I know because a lot of them are Kobe fans. He passed Kobe, but a lot of people thought he and the Heat were dishonoring the game because they felt it was manufactured. Because the Heat was purposely fouling the Wizards while up 30, to save time so they can get Bam the touches and the possessions needed to surpass Kobe. I'll say this before I get to you, and I'm not going to harp on this for too long. It's still damn hard to score 83 points. I get it, people. Kobe's revered, and I get it. To this generation and the generation before us, Kobe's like Mike, and I get it. And there's some people that you cannot utter a bad word about Mike. Just tell a 80s, 90s basketball fan LeBron's better than Mike. and see where that gets you. So a lot of people our age and younger, that's Kobe to them. So seeing a guy like Bam Adebayo, who's not the Lucas, who's not the Devin Bookers, who's not basically guys that just effortless puts the ball in the basket, and they want to shun it. I don't care. At the end of the day, look, yes, it's 43 free throws egregious, 100%. But Bam Adebayo was kicking their ass throughout the whole game. The Wizards, if anyone that should be embarrassed, should be the Wizards. It should not be Bam Adebayo. It shouldn't be Eric Spoelstra, this and this and that. I think people are just more upset because of who he passed. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to be honest, getting 83 is 83, dog. Like, however you get it, it's still a difficult thing. It's a reason why it hasn't been done since Kobe. And this is coming from arguably the biggest Heat hater. Like, I've made no bones about it. I do not like the Heat. I do not want to talk great about Bam Adebayo. But, however, this was a performance that, at the end of the day, brother, and there's some that leaning on my side, that have said in 10 years, you're not even going to remember that. You're just going to remember that he scored 83 points. Let's just be honest. Does anyone know the context of how Will Chamberlain scored 100? No. Does people not know that Kobe took the last 20 shots to get to that 81? The last 20 shots of the team's possession? 16 free throws attempts in the fourth quarter? Yes, I get it. It was a closer game, but do people know that? No, they just know the 81. Now, I do understand this, and I get the joke of which name doesn't belong in this group when you talk Walt, Bam, Kobe. It's not going to be a debate of, you know how they always say, start, bench, cut. We all know who we're cutting in that three. But at the same time, we still got to congratulate and show a little love to Bam Adebayo for scoring the second most points in the game. What's your thoughts, brother?
You're a lot more gracious than I am.
Let's go. Let's go. I want to hear it.
You're a lot more gracious than I am. And the only reason I say this is because it's the defenders of this, especially I think it's more Miami Heat adjacent fans. Bam Adebayo has been an afterthought for quite some time. He has been. I don't give a damn. And yes, you play the sport. You're an athlete, and you make money that I will never see. You want to say that you're better than me? Go ahead. I can. But guess what? I sit behind here because I get to do this. I get to talk about you. We're fans. We get to do this thing. You're not that great, right? So, or he at least Bam Adebayo is great. This is not direct shot to you, Bam. This is more to the defenders. Bam is an afterthought. We have not been thinking about Bam Adebayo for some time, and if we have been thinking about him, it's more because of his wife and her greatness. Who is the record leader in her sport? I think this is just like it's egregious in how they got there because not only was it that they were fouling, but they were also missing free throws on purpose so that they could get more possessions to Bam Adebayo. This is what the game is today. Bam Adebayo took over 20 shots, I believe, from the three, 43 free throws attempts. I think somebody said that Mikal Bridges hasn't even had that many attempts since the season started. There's so many ways to look at this. Now, I will say, yes, it's an accomplishment. And like you said, 10 years from now, we'll probably won't remember everything about this. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll be like, yo, this is such a disrespect that it stays in our mind how he got that. Like, that's probably the fact that, like, the asterisk that stays with it. But I don't think, to me, this is not memorable. To me, I probably won't think about much of this game, and if anybody brings it up to me, I just probably will remember the free throws that got him there. But I will say that first half was amazing. 43 points in the first half, 31 in the first quarter. Like that's things that I can definitely I can remember. It's just the rest of the game and the Wizards for letting this happen because at some point you were triple teaming the guy. Why? You're just bringing more attention to him. Why?
They realized they didn't want the record on them while he was busting his ass the whole game.
And they gave him the record.
Yeah. So they were triple teaming him, and look, at the end of the day, we a lot of people have given Spoelstra credit, with his adjustments. And what did he do? He made an adjustment. Okay, you're gonna triple team. We're gonna intentionally foul you so then we can get those possessions back for our guy Bam. I'm like I said. I don't care how it got there. A lot of people. I'm gonna just go back real fast. A lot of people didn't talk shit when David Robinson. And this is my boy is right here. When David Robinson, needed a certain amount of points to pass Shaq for the scoring title, and his team did what they had to do, got him his 70 points where he can get it. This is not the first time this happened in sports. I just think it's a lot more egregious because of who he passed, brother. I really think it's because of who he passed. I think that's what it is. I think if it was anyone else, I would think even if it was LeBron, some people would have celebrated it. But the fact that it's Kobe, I think is because of who he passed, bro. But no,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I think some people don't like some people felt like it was cheating the game, but it is what it is. But you mentioned a certain player in your take on Bam Adebayo, and that's Mikal Bridges because I got a bone to pick with him. Let's get into it. This is This Week in Knicks.
This week in Knicks.
All right, y'all. This Week in Knicks. This is where we talk about New York Knickerbockers and the Knicks from when we our episode aired last week. The Knicks lost a tough one to the Oklahoma City Thunder. They did bounce back and smoke Denver by 39, but then two tough losses to the Clippers and the Lakers. We got swept in LA back-to-back games. Both I didn't watch much of the Laker game. I was out. However, I will say this: just looking at the numbers, you could just tell that the Knicks just didn't shoot well. And then the Clipper game, they started off slow. Like I said, guys, as of this recording, they will be playing Utah. I should expect the Knicks to win this game. Utah's tanking. That should be a win. And then they got the Pacers tonight. But obviously, it's not really much to talk about when it comes to the Knicks, brother, because it is what it is. It's going to be wins. It's going to be losses. When you have these kind of road trips, especially the West Coast trips, you just hope if you can get out over 500 in a big road stand like what the Knicks are currently on, you take it out as a win. I think the most upsetting thing now to me, and there's been a guy that I felt like I've defended since he got here, and that's Mikal Bridges. And I want to highlight something real quickly, brother. Since his 25-point performance against the San Antonio Spurs on March 1st, which the Knicks played phenomenal. We highlighted that a couple weeks ago. He scored 11 points against Toronto, 15 points against OKC, 9 points against Denver. He had donut against the Lakers, and he's had 7 points against the Clippers. I'm not done yet. This is his field goal shooting percentage, though. He is shooting 37. He is averaging right now 43% from the field, 36.8 from three. This is a man that I get it, okay? He may not even be, I guess, maybe an off third option. You know, you look at OG, you look at, obviously we already know it's Brunson, Cat. Might be sometimes Cat OG, depending on how the game's going. But we cannot advance to the NBA Finals or even Eastern Conference Finals if Mikal Bridges continues to have these performances like this. We can't. There's been multiple times this season where we've seen Landry Shamet close games because we just can't have Mikal on the floor. And I hate to use the pick thing because it's such a low hanging fruit because everyone does it. Everyone that does any sort of remote like content to the Knicks do this. But it's hard to ignore it when you have these performances and you go, we've traded 4 unprotected first round picks for you, especially now when you know what we know now, hindsight 2020. That could have gotten us Giannis immediately. Only reason why I'm upset, but I'm not overreacting, is because I'm going to go back to this and I'm going to beat a dead horse. I saw what Mikal did for us in the playoffs. And I saw the intensity that he has. And I saw what he's capable of doing. However, I don't know if this guy needs to just take a break and be like, hey, man, the hell with this Iron Man streak. Take a break, because I know that's got to be affecting him somehow, brother. Like, it's got to be. The guy hasn't taken a day off. But at the same time, if you're going to play, then that means you need to be ready. And right now, it's been unacceptable to his performance the last week or two. Unacceptable.
And brother, this is a guy who, like, Up until I believe the Spurs game, like he was playing decent. At least he was scoring over 10 points a game ever since. But now he's just like he's a shell of himself. Like you said, 25, 11, 15, 9, 0, 7. These are the points you're putting up. And at the end of the day, yes, we love you for your defense, but Mikal, you're there for your offense just as much. You're probably one of the
Right.
best. When you're on it, you're probably one of the best mid range shooters. You remind me. I'm not saying you
100%.
are. I'm not saying you are. You remind me of DeRozan when DeRozan is just a middle of the court sniper.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, right.
You
Like his ability, yeah, to shoot in the mid range is up there. Yeah.
So right now, what we're seeing from him is not what's going to get us past anything in the playoffs. And you would hope that he, like you said, he does take a break, whether it's forced or not. But this is not what I want to see from Mikal Bridges. And I care less more about the picks right now because at the end of the day, yes, Giannis could have been had, but it's other things. Like sometimes the pick doesn't pan out. Sometimes the picks end up being someone who ends up being tossed to the side years later. So it doesn't. Those picks don't matter too much to me because they don't always equal out to us getting like let's say the top 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
I care
Yeah,
less
yeah.
about that.
Right,
I
right,
care more about what you like. We still gave up pieces that we could have got a better piece, or we could have kept other pieces. So these are the things that just like make you
right.
upset and you don't want to see going forward. We're going very close to the playoffs. We're closer to the playoffs than we were before. So
Yeah, we're
you want to
66
see a
games
turnaround.
in. As of this recording, the Knicks would have already played 67 games. Man, this DR Venezuela game right now, Venezuela just cut it to 4-3. This is insane. But brother, the Knicks do have the third easiest schedule going forward. As we mentioned, guys, I'm pretty sure this Utah game would be a win. They have Indiana tonight. We know that's not going to be easy. We saw Indiana beat us at the Garden with their
When
depleted
healthy.
team. When right, so then we have Golden State Sunday. Curry's not playing that game. I think it's been Shams announced he's going to miss another 10 days, and then next week they next week they're gonna have a few days off because then the next game is Tuesday at home against the Pacers, and then Friday. We'll get into that in next week's episode. I'm actually going to be in the building for next weekend's slate of games, and I'll talk more about that on next Wednesday's show. But brother, we can't wrap up a show without sharing the highlight of the week. So let's get into it.
He's on fire!
All right, y'all. This is the highlight of the week, and it's going to a guy that Dave and I both think is just being disrespected and should get more minutes. I don't understand what this guy needs to improve to get more minutes, but it's going to our man Kumo Diawara, because my man my man Diawara's about to go to jail for abusing a senior citizen. Because my man put Nick Batum in a poster, and this was part of that third quarter where the Knicks was getting that resurgence, that energy to come back in the third with the handle, gets the help screen for Huck Porty, and just dunks it right on Nicolas Batum. And Huck Porty. I was gonna say Huck Porty. Huck Porty put the screen. Mo Diawara has been showing that he can hit the three, but that's also a perfect example of that play that he can also put the ball on the floor. And you saw that move, a nice little hezzy, gets a nice screen. Shout out to Huck Porty. Great screen there to free Diawara to the basket, and then he gets the dunk over Nicolas Batum. Mo Diawara, a guy that you and I, brother, have been advocating. He just needs to be in the rotation. There's periods of games where he's in it, and then Mike Brown takes him out. Like right now, I don't believe he saw the floor in the fourth quarter of that game where he was a big part of the Knicks comeback in the third.
Brother, Mo Diawara is slowly becoming my favorite Nick this year to root
Yeah,
for. That's
he
not the
is.
top.
He
The
is.
top.
He is.
You know,
I
we
just see
and
your face every time we mention Mo's name.
I'm happy to see him, and I thought it was going to be Jose Alvarado, coming back home,
Right.
New York kid. But Diawara is just being one of those guys, and it's just one of those like the growth, the youth, and seeing what we could do. And then like he looked like Siakam there, like a prime
Yes.
Siakam there. And if we could get a prime Siakam, I will love him forever
Bro, we
because that
get
guy can
anything
ball.
close to that, right? And you know what's funny?
So
And I don't want to be those guys. I don't want to be those guys because at the end of the day, it's stupid. We're going, like you said, brother, we're going into the playoffs. We're nowhere close to the offseason yet. We shouldn't even be thinking about that. But that's also someone that you can go, wait a minute. That might be the young piece that could potentially be a part of a deal. Not saying anything, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
But
of course. A team could look at him and like he's the valuable
right.
one.
He can help us in the postseason, though, too. You know what I mean? And it's like I don't understand what he needs to show where he needs to get legit minutes. Legit. Not, obviously, like we said, this is recording up for Utah. I can see a lot of big minutes for him in this game. He should get a lot of. He got some lower competition.
I know we're wrapping up, and I just have to say this real quick about Diawara. It's very likely that Diawara could be one of those players who goes to another team and they just know how to use him better than us.
Yeah,
and he grows. He happens to grow, and it sucks because I would love to see it do for us.
And the scary part is that he will be a restricted free agent because he was a second round pick. He's only 1 year, so obviously the Knicks have his bird rights, but the Knicks, meaning guys that the Knicks could match any deal that Mo Diawara would get from any other team. But yeah, you're right. It's possible. It's possible. It's very possible. But guys, thank you, as we mentioned before. But let us know in the comments below what you think about the New York Knicks. What is it? Is it Mikal Bridges on your last nerve like mine? Like, is he getting there? Let me know. Let me know what you guys think about the Knicks schedule coming up. As they got, this is as I would say, brother. This is the time to get fat. The Knicks are approaching this part of the schedule where they can get really heavy. But guys, you saw there was a lot of news this week, right? And although we are a little late with the episode, we weren't late with our news. And people who follow us were up to date because they follow us on all our social media platforms, and that is TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and Reddit. I want to shout out Tony from the Talking Game podcast. He had me on his show this week to talk New York Mets. Give him a look out, man. Give him a like and subscribe to his page. Good dude. He's talking about everything. Dave will have it in the description to his page. Shout outs to him and his co-host, and brother, we're gonna be bringing him on pretty soon to talk some basketball. We'll go over that. And but guys, we also available on audio platforms, Spotify and Apple Music. I know a lot of people have been telling me
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, my bad, not Apple Music. A lot of people have been listening to us on our cars, and I'm not gonna lie, we sound pretty good. I might have my WBLS voice. So if you listen to me on audio, you are special.
Brother, before you go and send it off, because I just have to say one more thing. Guys, it was almost birthday. At the time of this recording, it was almost birthday yesterday. So let's give a quick shout out to our guy, our host. Brother, you already know what you mean to me. The words have been said over the years. You've been in my life for most of it. So shout out to you. Happy birthday. Everybody send a happy birthday to Omar in the comments. You were celebrating your birthday, and unfortunately Bam Adebayo wanted to make a record on your day.
Bro, can't make it up. Dog, even in my work chat, they're like, bro, they would do that. And it's funny because I was watching the Heat before we wrap up. I was watching it with a couple Heat fans, and I'm like, damn, has any Heat scored that? And then we looked it up, and it was like, yo, Dwayne Wade's career high was against the Knicks. So I have ties with freaking Heat history, bro. Too much, bro. If it got nothing revolving around the Knicks, it revolves around my personal life, which I'm not a fan of. But who cares? It is what it is. I had an amazing birthday. Thank you, guys. And thank you to everybody that wished me a happy birthday. But, guys, in the meantime, in between time, we will see you guys on Wednesday. I promise we will be back on Wednesday where we deliver that fire. Peace.
Turn it up, yeah, the tone stay polling. If it's New York sports, welcome to the ozone. Woo. Welcome to the ozone.